Hey, this is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel, Who's Ready for Some Fighting Words. In this video, I want to talk about Chris Eubank Jr. and also Liam Smith. The weigh-in is all set. Both guys showed up on weight. Both guys look good. They look fit. They look trim, and they're ready to rock and roll. And they are ready to rock and roll. A lot of things were said in the last press conference that, honestly, it just took a turn for the worse. Really quick, if you like these videos, please take the time right now to subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. If you have, first, I'd like to say thank you. And secondly, let's help this channel grow even more. If you could circulate it to your friends, your boxing buddies, or anybody in the gym, please do so. Also, please take the time right now to hit that thumbs up button. It truly does support and help this channel. Now, a lot of things were said in that press conference. You have Liam Smith just taking it way left field and running with it and just starting this. You know, it's funny. Let me just start with the whole time. The question is, who's living up in whose head? I can honestly say up until the press conference, it was Chris Eubank Jr. who was living rent-free in a nice little condo in Liam Smith's head. But Liam Smith takes it way far and says a comment like, has anybody ever seen Chris Eubank Jr. with a woman? And that changed everything. Chris Eubank Jr., who is a chip off the old block, just like his dad, very cool, calm, collected, very precise and calculated with his words. There was a skip in the step, mainly because I don't think he was expecting that. And there was a skip in the step. And that started some other stuff. And it just kind of went from there. And in which case, you know, Chris fired back and said, you cheat on your wife. And, you know, like, listen, even Chris said, hey, you opened the door. Now the door is open. We can't shut the door. Like, it is what it is. I've always liked this fight. You have two guys who are going to slug it out. This is not going to be a boxing match. This is going to be a fight, a brawl. Okay, in the UK. And quite frankly, this is what the UK needs. Quite frankly, this is what boxing needs. Okay, we have a potential fight of the year coming up on Saturday because these two do not like each other. These two have much history with each other. Going all the way back like 7-8 years, Liam Smith was talking about a spar, in which case Chris Eubank Jr. is like, well, it meant something to you. It didn't mean anything to me because I can't even remember it. Like, I don't remember you back then. I don't remember the spar. And in which case, you know, Liam Smith makes the claims that I hurt you to the body. And Chris is like, well, that's great. I just don't remember the spar. But, you know, see, here's the thing about sparring is lately sparring is like the topic of all things. Like, oh, they sparred 10 years ago. And what difference does that make? There's no lights in sparring. There's no money in sparring. There's no crowds of thousands in sparring. It is a whole lot of weight. And to be honest with you, not everybody spars the same way, meaning level. Floyd Mayweather typically would use his sparring for more or less just moving around. You know, I mean, he might entertain his homeboys or his people in the gym, but for the most part, he wasn't trying to like hurt his opponents. You know, he did talk his trash, and every once in a while he did beat up his opponents. But sparring is sparring. You look at Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali would use his sparring just to use his footwork for the most part. And then the latter end of his career, he would use it for his rope-a-dope and just getting his opponents in certain positions and things like that. Tyson Fury also does the same thing. So you can't really take a spar because unless the spar means the same thing to both guys, who really cares, to be honest with you? If it means as much to you as it means to me, then maybe we can make something out of it. And we can say, well, you got the better of the spar, so maybe you would be better if we fought under the bright lights. Maybe you would be better if we fought in front of a crowd of thousands. Maybe you would be better if we had an 8-week training camp and then we fought. Maybe. But that's neither here nor there, and that can't be proven. Unless you just flat out beat me from pillar to post during the spar, then that's something else. And that would suggest that I gave 110% in that spar. But that's something else. So, you know, it started off with the spar, in which case I think Liam Smith was just kind of annoyed, like, you're going to sit there and act like we didn't spar, and you're going to sit there and act like I didn't I didn't get the better of you in the spar. So like I said, that's either here nor there. I don't think spars mean that much, to be honest with you. I really don't. Sorry, I'm just fidgeting with my hat, but I don't think spars mean that much. Not in that sense. I just don't think they mean that much. But the fight is coming up. I definitely am picking Chris Eubank Jr. And after the press conference, I am 100% picking Chris Eubank Jr. I do not see this going the distance. I would be totally and utterly shocked if this fight goes the distance. Um, you have Liam Smith, who's just an average bloke. He's not bad, but he's not great. He's just good. And then you have Chris Eubank Jr., who's very athletic, who's very fast, who's very strong, and who's very aggressive. Contrary to if people like him or not, there's one thing that nobody will ever be able to take from Chris Eubank Jr. He's exciting. Period. He's exciting. He will give you your bang for buck and money and paying for that ticket. He's a very exciting fighter. That's that. The same thing with Liam Smith. Liam Smith is no walk in the park. And Liam Smith, although I don't think he's like super great at anything, I don't think he's super bad at anything either. I just think he's a basic boxer. But he's the type of guy who brings the fight. And if you can't keep up with his work rate, because he's the type of guy who beats you up, if you can't keep up with that, well, then you will succumb to that. So this has all the makings of fight of the year. Now, what happens after the fight? Because I truly believe Chris Eubank Jr. will win this fight by knockout, or somebody in their right mind just stops this thing. Well, it looks like Kell Brook wants to get back in the ring. It looks like he's coming out of retirement. He wants the winner of Chris Eubank Jr. and Liam Smith. Okay. How do I see that going? I don't. I think Chris Eubank Jr. would wipe the floor with Kell Brook. I don't listen. Yeah, you can walk away, and listen, some people get better when they walk away. They come back refreshed. Just totally focused, refreshed. Maybe it was like being away was like a sense of serenity or something like that. But I don't think that's going to help you against Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Jr. has one thing on his mind. That is a Triple G and Canelo fight. And he knows beating the living tar out of Liam Smith is going to get him one step closer. But you look at a name like Kell Brook, that is a name, okay? He also fought Triple G. Well, I could also beat the tar out of you too and get one step closer to Triple G. I don't foresee him fighting Canelo Alvarez. I don't think Canelo wants any part of like a Chris Eubank Jr. But Triple G is getting older, and listen, Chris Eubank Jr. has been calling him out for years. Maybe he might just get it after say, if he gets his hands on Kell Brook and he does what I truly believe he would do. Kell Brook is, I don't want to use the words damaged goods, but I'm going to go there. Damaged goods. He's already been battered up. Listen, your old wounds will come back with a fighter like Chris Eubank Jr. If you were talking about somebody who was just, like a pillow puncher, then you got nothing to worry about. Like, they could just beat you up on the outside. But you're talking about Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Jr. is extremely aggressive. And he's going for the kill at all times. I would greatly put all my resources on Chris Eubank Jr. beating up Kell Brook. I don't think that would be a hard task for him either. I think that would be easy money. And that's not to knock Kell Brook or his skills at one point in his career, but the reality is the wounds that he succumbed to, those are not wounds that go away. They're still there. They're just lying dormant because he hasn't been punched in the face in a long time. But believe me, you get somebody big and strong like Chris Eubank Jr., who's, by the way, much bigger than Kell Brook, that's going to be a problem for Kell Brook, not for Chris Eubank Jr. It'll be great for Chris Eubank Jr.'s resume, and it'll be great for his highlight reel, but it'll also be great for his pocket. Yes, again, the UK. So it's also great for its pocket, but I don't see in any way, shape, or form how this benefits Kell Brook. And let's just say out of some crazy scenario, Kell Brook were to beat Chris Eubank Jr. Where are you going, and what are your thoughts after that? Because are you like legitly trying to make a run for the title? Well, what are we doing? And I think that's the overall question going on in boxing, like with a lot of fighters, especially champions. What are we doing? What are we doing? Like, I get it. You're feeling the urge to come back and fight, but what path are you on? Like, what path are you on? Because who are you going to fight after that? What, are you going to rematch Triple G? Like, are you serious? You know, so it's just like, I don't really understand. Not that I feel like that will happen. 'Cause I think if he were to get in that ring and announce that he would like to get his hands on Chris Eubank Jr. after Chris Eubank Jr.'s win over at Liam Smith, I think Chris Eubank Jr. would jump at the opportunity. But I feel really, really bad for Kell Brook because you're going to get what you asked for. And Kell Brook went out on a great note. His last fight, he won. You know, he took his man out. Every fighter has the same issue at some point. They just can't get away. They can't stay away. Look at Roy Jones Jr. It's the tale of a guy who couldn't stay away. And if you get back in the ring, I promise you, your next exit won't be pleasant, especially if you're going up against the likes of Chris Eubank Jr. But those are my thoughts. Drop your thoughts down below on the fight between Chris Eubank Jr. and Liam Smith. And also tell me what your thoughts are on Kell Brook coming back. What do you think? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? What do you think the odds are in Kell Brook beating either guy? And if so, what do you think his future plans are? Drop your thoughts down below. As always, I would love to hear what you have to say. Please like, please share, please subscribe to the channel.